Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're back on GT Sport and we're back with another daily race C at Redbull Ring in Group 4. But this time we're driving on the European servers. This was taken from Monday's racing and we've got a very competitive lobby with Fire, Atomics, Mahata, Mehdi and Jack all in this lobby. Some top split drivers, and this was an extremely tough race. We're luckily starting from P1 because on our second account we set a reasonably okay lap straight away on the Monday. So we're going to have to lead this group and try and see if we can manage to hold on to P1 in this daily race C. So first thing we want to make sure we do is get turn 1 done properly without making any major errors. Try and get a nice clean exit. So starting the race, we're away. We've got Fire right behind us there in P2 and Atomics in P3. So let's see what happens in this daily race C. You can see a little bit of tyre warming up there going on. We're obviously racing this race on the hard tyres, so a tiny bit of warming up will help you out. But turn 1, we do that reasonably well and we get a nice exit from there. Fire also gets a nice exit from there, and he's following in our slipstream all the way up into technically turn 3 because they class this as turn 2. So yeah, we're working our way up into turn 3, hitting the braking zone just before the 100 board on the left hand side, and then down to first gear. Now this was obviously Monday, so our pace wasn't fully up to speed by this point. We have, I think, improved the pace a little bit more since this day. But yeah, we've got Fire. We're gonna have to drive very well in this lobby because obviously it's a stacked lobby with top split drivers, nearly 100k drivers in this lobby. I'm not sure if Mehdi is actually 100k again now. I know that Fire was at one point. I'm not sure if he still is, but yeah, absolutely stacked lobby. Always is on a Monday afternoon, evening, when everyone's streaming and everyone's obviously jumping on for the new races. And now we're just trying to concentrate. Now we had picked Ferrari again. We started the day, we used it for the video, the Ferrari. Looks like we picked the correct car for the race because it definitely feels like the better car in terms of overall race pace. The RCZ just doesn't seem to have the pace, and also the Ferrari in qualifying is very, very strong. So into the final corner now, we're going to just try and take this nice and smooth. We've got Fire right behind us putting some pressure on us, and we just got to keep it nice and smooth down to third gear. Try and make sure you don't run wide on these corners. It's so easy to pick up a penalty, but again, looking at the replay camera, you can see that there's a group separated now. We've got 5 cars battling in this group, and then there's a bit of a gap there. We've got Mehdi in the BMW M4, which in a slipstream looked very, very strong. It looked like it was able to stay with the Ferrari quite easily with the slipstream. It was very, very fast on some of the corners, slower corners coming out of the exit. So yeah, the BMW clearly an okay car to use here, although without slipstream I'm not sure it's quite as strong as the Ferrari. It'd be interesting to try that car out at some point. But into turn 3, hitting our braking point, everyone nice and smooth through here. No one's close enough to go for a move, and yeah, we've got a train of 5 cars battling for the leaders race, and you can see the gap to P6 has already started to build up. So a bit of a gap developing there, and now we've just got to try and see if we can keep it nice and smooth. Now we skip ahead to lap 3, drove it nice and consistent up to that point. You can see we actually got a bit of a gap to Fire at this point. Not a massive gap, but it's around 6 tenths, half a second to Fire, so we're not under massive pressure at this stage. We're driving reasonably okay. Now we run through that corner a little bit wide on the exit there, but we just about get the penalty, and yeah, unfortunately that is half a second penalty that is going to probably drop us down a place or 2. Now I do think that Jack had pitted early in this race, and that's why he's not in this group. I think he must have pitted at the end of lap 1, going for that early stop and maybe trying to get some clean air. Maybe he thought there'd be a lot of battling going on at the front, so he's obviously pitted early. So this penalty is going to hurt us, so we fast forward the action all the way up again up into turn 3, where we're going to try and hit that braking point and then take this penalty again. You're going to see now at this point we're going to start, I think we just realized to do the half car on the grass, half car not on the grass at this point because we had seen other people doing it. But you can see we are going to lose that position to Fire. That is Fire's second account in front of us there, and we also have Atomics' second account behind us. So a lot of drivers in this race are on their second account, just having a bit of fun at the front of the grid here, trying to compete for the win. And we've got very close racing, so we've tucked in behind Fire. We're going to obviously follow behind Fire and just try and stay with him, use the benefits of following the car, and then yeah, just try and get a consistent run going, because Fire was very, very quick when he was in clean air. And obviously in this race there is no tyre saving needed. It is completely flat out. You don't need to worry about your tyres. You just drive it 100% aggressive, and that's probably another reason why it kind of suits me, because you can just concentrate on racing. You don't have to worry about the tyres, And yeah, our pace seems pretty solid here. We're nearly losing the slipstream though to Fire. You can see we dropped back a little bit. A couple of little errors. That penalty kind of put me out of rhythm a little bit, and now we're just trying to get it back under control and see if we can get in that toe and see if we can just pull our way back up to the back end of that black Ferrari in front of us. So yeah, we got Antomics right behind us there, putting us under pressure, and right behind him we have Mehdi also putting him under pressure. Now Antomics isn't going to go for an overtake here. He's going to actually bump draft us and try and keep us in the slipstream to Fire, because with people pitting early, it's a little bit risky if you start fighting really early on in a race, like lap 2 or 3 or 4, something like that. You're just going to be very risky. So yeah, he's just playing it smart and using the slipstream and pushing us back into that slipstream. Now we've got a little bit more pull from Fire. Fire is definitely trying to break that slipstream though. You can see he's trying to break away, pull away, and then he can just run his own race and not worry about any other cars. So into turn 4, hitting that braking point just before the 100 board on the left there, down into second gear, and just try and rotate the car on the curb. I find that if you just let the Ferrari coast as you get on that curb, you can get on the power nice and early, and you get really good exit speed from that corner. This corner, I always get the car just over onto the curb, brake just before that 50 board, and let the car rotate down into third gear, again skimming the apex, and then power your way out of the corner. Be very careful on the exit there not to use too much curb, because you can easily run wide and get a penalty. Same for this corner here, if you run a little bit too far wide. And you can see behind us, Mehdi has managed to get himself past Antomics in the BMW there. So we've now got the BMW behind us, and you're going to see just how fast that car was once it was in a slipstream. There were certain corners that it seemed to be very strong on as we work our way through the final section of this lap, and Fire runs a little bit wide there, but he's going to get away with that one, and we go over the line again for a reasonable lap there. We go with the fastest lap of the race so far, but at this stage on Monday, obviously we weren't fully up to speed. I can actually go faster than that without slipstream now, but yeah, at this stage that was a pretty solid lap early on Monday. But you can see Fire is actually starting to pull away a bit there, but luckily he nailed turn 1, but luckily we have that slipstream to pull ourselves all the way back up this hill and get a little bit closer. Now we just got to try and get a nice solid exit from this corner to make sure that we don't lose the slip. And you can see we turn in really nicely there, and we actually nailed that corner and get right back in to the toe of the car in front. That's going to mean we're dragged all the way into turn 4 now. You can see Mehdi behind in the BMW M4 putting us under pressure though, and behind him Antomics just sitting behind, obviously again just using that slipstream same as we are to try and stay in this battle. So yeah, so far also clean, no real incidents. It's been nice and smooth. As we watch the replay camera, you can just see how close the battling is at the moment. You can see 5 cars all still battling for the win in this race. All these cars in this race have got a chance of obviously taking the win, especially with the strategy in this race, you know, pitting a little bit early. As you see, Mahata, I think that is runs a little bit wide, and that is probably going to loosen the slipstream, especially with the dirty tyres. So he's probably going to drop back a little bit from this battle now. But yeah, we now have 4 cars probably battling for this race, and obviously any cars that pitted early to try and avoid any traffic. So maybe there'll be cars towards the end of the race that will rejoin in this battle as we go through the final corner. Run a little bit wide there. Did Fire get a penalty? I think he was okay over the line, and yeah, all good there as we go over the line with another decent lap there. And we see Mehdi behind us with a 36.2 obviously in the slipstream, and that's what I'm saying, that BMW in the slipstream seems very strong. But yeah, we're just still in this battle. We're in P2. We're fast forwarding the action here as we're just following behind Fire. Not really too much going on at this stage. We're all just pretty much around 6 temps, 5 temps behind each other. Mehdi a little bit closer to myself, around 3-4 temps as we fast forward to the start of lap 8. And we see there Fire runs a little bit wide from that corner. Is that going to be a penalty? No, it looks like he got away with that one. Same, it's so easy to get a penalty, but you can sometimes just get away with it when you do run wide. But into turn 3, onto the brakes, and we're very close to Fire there on the entry, and we actually get a nice solid exit. So we're going to get the benefit of Fire's toe massively down this straight now as we work our way into the next braking zone. We're not close enough to really send one up the inside or go for a move, and it doesn't really make sense to go for a move at this stage because Fire's pace is clearly pretty strong. And yeah, I think Fire was probably a little bit faster than me, probably still is a little bit faster than me even at this stage. I think he was doing 36.2s without slipstream at some stage, which is pretty insane. But yeah, into this left hand corner again, trying to stay close to the apex. We've got Mehdi right behind us now, and it looks like Antomics has dropped off of the slipstream a bit, maybe a little bit of a mistake or possibly a penalty. I'm not too sure how he's ended up out of the slipstream range of that BMW. So now it looks like it's a bit more of a free car race at this stage of the race. for the win in this daily race C, but we're just trying to stay with Fire at the moment. See if we can stay with him as we work our way through the final 2 corners, pushing the limits. Fire runs a little bit wide there. I'm not too sure if he's got a penalty on that corner, and he has a 1-second penalty. And annoyingly, that corner is so frustrating because on some corners it's a ½ second penalty, but for that corner, if you run tiny bit wide, it's an instant 1-second penalty. So that is going to affect Fire a lot more than the ½ second as we now come through the corner. And Fire again runs a little bit wide. I'm not too sure if he's going to get another penalty there or if he got away with that one, and yet he's got another ½ second penalty. So from being in P1 in control, Fire's race has just gone downhill in a couple of corners. Just 2 tiny mistakes, and that's 1.5 second penalty. So now Fire's going to have to take that penalty, and that is going to give us the lead in this daily race C. And we're going to have to try and hold off Mehdi in that BMW. So that's at 1 point, that's going to really cost him. You can see how much he's lost out. That's a massive amount of time. So carrying on now, and we're going to go through turn 4 and just try and do some solid laps. Now at this stage, I got a little bit messy with this stage. Now once we had no slipstream, it took me a while to try and figure back out the track, but yeah, we just got to try and stay ahead of that BMW. I don't think Mehdi was going to battle too much because I'm not too sure how fast the M4 is without slipstream. This is another thing, we do need to test that maybe at some point for a daily race, give it a go and see what it's like without a slipstream. But yeah, at this stage, he's not going to go for a move there. You can see he's got the slipstream, and now we're going into the final few corners and just try and hold on to this P1 in this race. But this is going to get interesting as we get to the later stages. Fire, I think, might go for an early stop with that penalty. Let's take a look, see if Fire darts off into the pit lane as we go over the line to start another lap. And you can see there, Fire is into the pits. He's obviously going to try and go for an early stop and try and avoid the battling of what could go on at the front, and see if he can rejoin this battle for the lead as we go through turn 1. Trying to do it nice and smooth, not really getting the exit speed though as we work our way up the hill into the next braking zone. You can see the gaps there on the bottom right hand corner in the replay camera between myself, Mehdi, and also Antomix there in P3. It looks like Antomix is just outside the slipstream. You can see he might be picking it up ever so slightly as we go into the braking zone, so he might get a little bit of benefit. It's very, very close whether he's getting a tiny bit of tow from that car or not. But yeah, Mehdi not really fighting this too much at this stage, so this is going to be interesting. However, I was driving really messy on these laps by myself. I just couldn't get a rhythm going. Once Fire had made them mistakes, I got a little bit messy, started making some errors, and you can see again another error in that corner, not getting the exit speed. And Mehdi probably thinking that he can probably go a bit faster than us at this stage, but he's not close enough to go for a move there. So into the braking zone, try and hold it tight to the apex. And yeah, will Mehdi go for the early stop though? This is the question. If Mehdi goes for the early stop, we're going to have to drive an extremely good in lap on our lap. So working our way through here, is Mehdi going to go in the pits on this lap for that earlier stop to give himself some clean air and try and push and see if he can get the jump on us by the time we pit? You can see he's in that slipstream, so he's going to brake early. You can see the gap developing there, takes a tighter line, and he's off into the pits for a pit stop a little bit earlier. I'm going to stay out now, and this lap has to be a very, very good lap. You can see our current personal best at the moment is a 36.3, but that was with slipstream. So I know this lap, this in lap, has to be everything put on the track and absolutely nailed. So into turn 1, we get the line much better this time, hooking up the apex nicely. Good exit speed off of turn 1. That's going to help us all the way now into the next braking zone. So a nice exit there. You can actually see that we're actually pulling slightly away from Antomix behind us. So that is how you know you've done a pretty good exit off turn 1, when you slightly pull away on the exit there. So into the braking zone, we're a 10th down, but a lot of that will be slipstream from obviously following in Fire's slipstream. And then a really nice solid exit from turn 3. That was vital there. When you get that corner right, you can gain a 10th or 2 tenths instantly just by getting the throttle down at the correct time. So nice exit there. Into the next braking zone, braking just before that 100 board, down into second gear, and we got the perfect rotation through it. Hit the curb pretty much spot on the throttle, use the full width of the track, and absolutely nail in this in lap. This is going to be vital if we can stay ahead of Mehdi now. Can we get this next few corners done perfectly? Run a tiny bit wide, but we managed to hook it up into the apex on the throttle nice and early, and then we're going to go through the second sector split, and we're still only just over a 10th off our personal best of a 36.3 when we was in slipstream. So this lap is looking like a very solid in lap. It was looking like a 36.5, 36.4, something like that, which would have been an incredible lap with no slip. So yeah, we're darting off into the pits now. We have to pit this lap. We've got no other choice, and we're going to do the compulsory stop and go with no tyre change and no fuel. And again, I do think that PD need to maybe use this a little bit less and start making the races with strategy, with soft and medium tyres and stuff, because in my view it's a bit more interesting when it's them type of races. But we come out of the pits, we can see that Mehdi is behind us. Is he going to be close enough to get the slipstream? It looks like that in-lap was good enough to keep the lead in the Ferrari. We did absolutely nail that in-lap, so we've managed to hold on to the lead in this very competitive daily race. So into the braking point, is Mehdi going to go for a move here? He's not. Fire's actually got himself back in the race also behind us there. Fire must have put in some very, very good lap times, and as you can see, he did a 1:36.2 with no slipstream as far as I know. So that is a pretty insane lap as we work our way into the braking zone, trying to hold on. Mehdi's a bit too far back there to go for a move, so again we've managed to hold on to the position there, and now we're going to go into the two left-hand corners. Again, the Ferrari should be pretty strong here, but the BMW seems very, very strong in these two left-hand corners also. So down into third gear, hold a tight line. You can see that BMW holding an extremely tight line there on the entry to the corner. And now into third gear again for this long left-hand corner where we get on the throttle nice and early, use the full width of the track, and we're just about going to be able to hold on. So we're going to go to the right-hand side and then back over to the left as we take the normal racing line, as he doesn't look close enough to really send one up the inside. So now we've just got to try and get this corner done quite nicely to get really good exit speed, and we managed to do that into the next braking zone, and we've managed to hold on for a win in this extremely competitive Daily Race C at Redbull Ring, and another enjoyable battle with some of the top EU drivers. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that video. It was a little bit less battling, but a lot more flat out pace in this race, and some very, you know, competitive lobby. We had Alex Zoni in there as well and other drivers. So yeah, enjoyed that one. Hope you lot enjoyed it. Hit the like button if you did. I'll be back for more videos and live streams in the future, and yeah, I'll see you all soon. Bye everyone.